The Texas Rangers lost 11-6 tonight against the Boston Red Sox in the first game of the series. The past week for the Texas Rangers has been absolutely disastrous. After sweeping the White Sox, optimism was at an all-time high. We were just within 5 games of the division, being at the top of the division, at least. And then what happened was mishap after mishap after mishap. So the Blue Jay series swept. Cardinals lost the series. I thought that the Josh Young effect would really work because, around the time that after the Blue Jays were swept last year in September, I was thinking that, Josh Young, he's gonna help this team surpass their odds, and he did, along with Evan Carter. Didn't happen this year though, because the Rangers lost the series against the Cardinals. But as for before I get into this series, the Blue Jays series was just absolutely disastrous. Bruce Bochy has really, if you go back to my account, if you go back on my channel to the beginning of the 2023 season, I was very critical of Bruce Bochy's bullpen management. Bruce Bochy has this habit where if a pitcher does really well in their first inning of pitching, he brings them out for a second inning. And I mean, it's worked for him at times, but the Blue Jays series really exposed how that doesn't work out. And I just remember that Jonathan Hernandez in that series was brought into his second inning, gave up base runners, and then Josh Sborz, the same thing happened with him, where he allowed base runners, and then Kirby Yates had to be brought in later in the game. And yeah, I mean, using relievers for multiple innings just exhausts the bullpen. And as I said in that video last year, it causes relievers to have multiple days of rest. Way more than the usual 2-3 days at the max days of rest. So it's just annoying. And then what do you know? The next start after that, Michael Lorenzen can't get out of the first inning. As I put it on X, he got 2022 first start Jose Barrios. Nice reference, huh? And then Jose Urena and Dane Dunning had to be used for multiple innings. Dane Dunning and Jose Urena are just they're the long relief guys this season. But then after that game, John Gray. Oh man, I love John Gray's starts. I look like John Gray, don't I? I like his start. I like watching him pitch, and he didn't even throw a pitch in that game. He was out with an injury, and now he's on the 10-day IL. So then, with the exhausted relievers of Jose Urena and Dane Dunning, it forced Bruce Bochy to have to really conjure up something. Jonathan Hernandez was brought into that game, gave up a home run to Vladdy, and who else was used after that? Jacob Latz was brought in afterwards, didn't do very well either. And then Michael Lorenzen, oh my God. In his last moments as a Texas Ranger, he stepped up big. I will never forget what Michael Lorenzen did. Before, after John Gray was brought out of the game, Michael Lorenzen, I saw him talking with Bruce Bochy. He was probably like, hey, I didn't even pitch a full inning yesterday. I mean, given he had over 40 pitches in 2/3 of an inning, but he had a conversation with Bruce Bochy saying, I want to pitch today. That's my assumption. And then later in the game, absolutely helps out the bullpen by pitching multiple innings of relief. I will never forget that from Michael Lorenzen. Thank you for your service, Michael Lorenzen. You're a pretty good pitcher for the Rangers. That was unfortunately his last moments as a Texas Ranger because he was traded to the Royals for Walter Pennington, a left-handed relief pitcher. The Rangers don't have a lot of left-handed relief pitchers. Jacob Latz is the he's the honorary left-handed relief pitcher on the Rangers right now. So, shout out to that. Going into the St. Louis series, I was very optimistic. I wasn't optimistic. What am I talking about? I was more optimistic seeing Lance Lynn pitch again. Pitching against the Rangers for the first time since he was traded. And yeah, that Cardinal series, the first game was great. It was an expecting batting average home run derby for the Rangers because they got a lot of weak hits and they scored a lot of runs. But then the rest of the series proved that those weak hits weren't sustainable because they lost that series. So heading into Friday night, I'd have to put up the standings before the game tonight, but the Boston Red Sox, they're in the wild card hunt, just like the Rangers are. Or sorry, not the wild card hunt for the Rangers specifically, because I don't see the Rangers making the postseason unless they win the division, to be honest. It is so competitive in the American League wild card hunt right now. So the Red Sox, they're eyeing the wild card. And yeah, Jose Urena makes the start because, there's no pitchers for the Rangers to use. John Gray's out with an injury. Michael Lorenzen was traded. Max Scherzer's on the IL now. It's a dumpster fire right now for Rangers starting pitching. And Jose Urena gives up 7 earned runs. Then Jacob Latz was brought in after that. Also gave up runs. But you know what? Andrew Chafin was brought into the 9th inning. And he did what Kenny Powers failed to do in Eastbound and Down. And that is pitch for Texas.
Where the fuck you going?
Oh, motherfucker.
Amazing moment. He gave up a long dong silver to Rafael Devers. But I will allow that. Because Kenny Powers, he had the opportunity to pitch for Texas at Globe Life Park. And he just walked off the field. But Andrew Chafin, he pitched a full inning for the Rangers. Legendary moment. Anyways, this season has been an absolute mess. I haven't posted in months, but I've been watching the games, trust me. And it has felt like a job watching these games. They're not a terrible team. They're not a losing team like they were from 2017 to 2022. But man, it sure is. It sure is irritating getting your hopes up every couple weeks with this team. They go on a good run, sweeping the Royals and Wyatt Langford hitting for the cycle on Sunday Night Baseball and sweeping the Rays, all of the optimism in the world, and then, yeah, that doesn't end up going anywhere. And yeah, and with all these injuries too, it's so annoying. There's as soon as the Rangers start to get a little healthy, another injury happens. Cody Bradford was out. He had an elite start to his season. Josh Young again then was injured. And Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle, they're all on the IL. And John Gray's on the IL from time to time. He's been on the IL twice this season. God, who else? Evan Carter being injured. He only played a dozen or so games this season, and he's been out the entire year. He's going to be out the entire year. And yeah, then, Nathan Eovaldi earlier in the year having a groin injury just like John Gray did. So Yeah. Josh Spores, too. There's just been a billion injuries for this roster. It's annoying. But, and the offense has been so mid. That's the only word you can use to describe this Rangers offense is mid. I've never seen so many weak hit balls in my life. We were spoiled last season with this offense. They averaged over 5 runs a game. And the Rangers are lucky to score 4 or more runs, it seems. Like Adolis Garcia has fallen off a cliff. Your most productive hitters are Josh Smith, who I gave the nickname in 2022 Josh Flaring Smith because he hits flares for hits. That's worked well for him this season. He did his best Joey Gallo impression tonight, having a 4 strikeout game. Clutch. And Corey Seager doing his stuff, but I just it baffles me. This offense is still the same as last season, with a few exceptions. And yeah, it's just weird. It's really weird. This team last season was having pitchers brought in, position players brought into the 8th inning, and yeah, we were spoiled. And the bullpen, don't even get me started on the bullpen. I remember heading into the Blue Jays series how good the bullpen was performing. And of course, with how hit or miss this bullpen always has been, they haven't performed well at all the past week. So, yeah, this is my rant, I guess. This is my rant video. Rangers play tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Let's go.